There's a specific feeling you get when you boot up Rockstar's 2008 opus Grand Theft Auto 4. It's not hype of a new adventure. It's not the excitement of a playground unlocked. It's weight, a tangible, atmospheric heaviness. Everything in Liberty City feels burdened by gravity, by grime, by a cold, indifferent reality. And in an era of open worlds designed to constantly dazzle and delight you, that weight is why GTA 4's atmosphere remains unmatched, even against the glossy perfection of its successor and the upcoming spectacle of GTA 6. This isn't nostalgia. This is a breakdown of deliberate, cohesive design choices that created a place, not just a map. And to understand it, we need to talk about friction, physics, and a world that refuses to perform for you.
Want to keep going? Stay down. Suck it up.
Los Santos is a postcard, a sun-drenched fantasy of California excess, designed with wide angles, scenic vistas, and constant visual fireworks. It wants you to see it. Liberty City is a used subway car. It's a maze of tight corridors, obstructive architecture, and constant claustrophobic noise. You're not encouraged to explore its beauty. You're forced to navigate its dysfunction. This density is everything. There's no breathing room, no long, empty highways to let the game reset. You are always in the thick of it. Pedestrians jaywalking with suicidal determination, traffic that obeys its own chaotic rules, police sirens that echo and warp between concrete canyons. The city feels alive not because of scripted events, but because of consistent systemic pressure. Los Santos feels alive when it wants to. Liberty City feels alive whether you like it or not. Something that I think is so important to GTA 4's atmosphere is its combat. It works because it refuses to be smooth. It isn't trying to feel elegant or empowering. And that decision shapes every shootout in the game. The Euphoria physics system is doing most of the heavy lifting, but not in a flashy way. Enemies don't rely on rigid animations. They will react dynamically to being hit. A shot will cause someone to stagger, lose balance, or fall awkwardly against nearby objects. Sometimes they drop their weapon, sometimes they don't. The lack of consistency is the point. You can't fully predict how an encounter will resolve, which keeps fights tense rather than procedural. The world reacts just enough to reinforce that sense of physicality. Bullets spark off metal surfaces, glass breaks when hit, and objects shift or tip over when bodies collide with them. It's not exaggerated spectacle, it's subtle feedback that reminds you that the fight is happening in a real, solid space. You're not shooting at abstract targets. You're fighting inside offices, hallways, alleyways, and stairwells that feel cramped and resistant to chaos rather than built for it. NPC behavior also contributes to this unease. Enemies don't move with perfect confidence or tactical clarity. Some hesitate, some rush, some retreat poorly. Their reactions feel driven by pressure rather than strategy, which makes the firefights unpredictable. Combined with the sound design, overlapping gunfire, shouting, distant sirens, encounters quickly become noisy and disordered, even when they started small. A major reason why combat feels so tense is the absence of automatic health generation. Damage doesn't fade away if you take cover. If you're hurt, you stay hurt. That alone changes how you approach every fight. You're less aggressive, more cautious, and far more aware of positioning. You can't rely on the game to reset the stakes for you. Mistakes carry forward. Weapons reinforce this mindset. Guns feel heavy and imperfect. Recoil is noticeable. Accuracy isn't guaranteed, and firefights rarely go exactly as planned. You're not snapping cleanly between targets. You're adjusting constantly, compensating for movement and pressure. It makes gunplay slower, more deliberate, and more stressful. Because of this, violence in GTA 4 doesn't feel stylish, it feels consequential. Shootouts aren't power fantasies where the system bends to you to make you look competent. They're situations you endure and adapt to. When the fight ends, it doesn't feel triumphant so much as resolved. This approach fits Liberty City perfectly. The combat follows the same rules as the world itself: heavy, messy, and resistant to control. GTA 4 doesn't try to make violence look fun in the traditional sense. Instead, it makes it feel grounded, uncomfortable, and earned, and that's why it still stands apart.
You didn't change the game. The game changed you.
If the shootout rejects the power fantasy, the driving rejects coolness. GTA 4's driving is the most debated element for a reason. Cars have boat-like heft, but the suspension of a shopping cart. They're lean, they understeer, they fishtail on damp asphalt. They feel connected to the road through a layer of jelly. This isn't bad design, it's character. In Liberty City, you don't conquer the road, you negotiate with it. During a mission chase, you can't just floor it. You must brake and anticipate sharp turns and understand that speed is a dangerous privilege. A crash isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a violent, vehicle-framing event of crumpling steel and flying windshields.
Oh shit! So real. DJ can be alive for that
Compare this to the arcade perfect handling in 5, or what we've seen of GTA 6's seemingly more realistic but still fluid driving. In those games, the car is an extension of you. In 4, you are a guest in the car, and Liberty City is an obstacle course designed to humble you. A successful getaway isn't just about speed, it's about grit, a little luck, and adapting to a world that refuses to get out of your way. Liberty City doesn't look broken, it looks used up. This isn't decay in the dramatic post-apocalyptic sense. Nothing has collapsed spectacularly. The buildings are still standing, the lights are still on, the trains still run, but everything carries a visible fatigue of having done the exact routine for decades without pause. The city feels permanently midweek, not the optimism of Monday, not the relief of Friday, just a long grey stretch in between. Surfaces tell stories before people do. Concrete is chipped and layered, a message of old repairs and newer neglect. Brick walls are unevenly darkened by years of rain, with lighter rectangles where a sign used to hang, advertising something long gone. Windows are cloudy, not from dirt but from age. The glass has given up on clarity. Nothing shines unless it's trying too hard. The lighting in Liberty City never tries to redeem this. Street lights don't bathe in a world of warmth, they stain it. Sodium orange bulbs leak from fog, casting halos that make wet pavement glow like old bruises. Headlights reflect off of asphalt in harsh, fragmented streaks, breaking the road into uneven planes of glare and shadow. Daytime isn't better. Overcast skies flatten the city into a dull gradient where buildings blur into one another and the horizon feels perpetually out of reach. Sunlight doesn't sparkle, it exposes. It reveals grime instead of erasing it. Night doesn't bring romance, it brings contrast, deeper blacks, harsher lights, and the sense that the city is still working while pretending to sleep. Liberty City's buildings aren't expressive, they're functional, defensive, and exhausted. Apartment blocks loom not as monuments, but as storage. Stacked lives behind thin walls. Fire escapes zigzag across brick fences like afterthoughts. Rusting ladders that are bolted on to meet regulations rather than offer escape. Rooftops are cluttered with vents, water towers, and satellite dishes. Practical clutter with no visual cohesion. Even the skyline feels apologetic. It doesn't rise triumphantly, it crowds itself together, competing for space, blocking its own light. There's no sense that anyone designed this city to be admired. It was assembled, modified, patched, and expanded as needed. beauty sacrificed for survival. Color exists in Night City, but it feels invasive. Neon signs buzz too brightly, their glow harsh against the muted environment, like lies told too loudly. Billboards promise luxury, escape, success, but their paint is faded, edges peeling, frames rusting. The message remains, but delivery undermines it. Police lights flash red and blue, slicing through the monotony with sudden intensity. They don't feel reassuring, they feel alarming. Emergency colours used so often that they've lost their authority. Even fashion feels dulled. NPC clothing blends into the city. Browns, greys, muted blues. People dressed to disappear, not to express. Liberty City has an implied scent. Rain doesn't wash the city clean, it activates it. Wet pavement smells like oil and metal. Steam rises from subway grates. Not dramatically, but persistently, as if the city is constantly venting its own heat and frustration. Trash bags sit bloated at the curb. Not repulsive enough to be shocking, but omnipresent. Garbage isn't a crisis here, it's background texture. Another thing that no one has energy to care about. There are very few spaces in Liberty City that feel genuinely comfortable. Interiors are cramped, lighting is flat, furniture is cheap, scuffed and chosen for necessity rather than taste. Public spaces are transitional, lobbies, platforms, sidewalks, places you pass through rather than inhabit. Parks feel incidental, like zoning requirements reluctantly fulfilled. Benches are cold, trees are sparse, grass is patchy. Nature isn't welcomed, it's tolerated. Even luxury feels isolating. High-end areas aren't warm, they're sterile, guarded, and emotionally distant. Comfort is replaced by separation. Liberty City has emotional weather as much as physical weather. There's a constant undercurrent of irritation, of impatience, of people running late to places they don't want to be. Conversations feel clipped, transactional, strained. No one seems relaxed. No one seems fully present. The city doesn't explode with misery. It hums with it. It's not sadness, it's resignation. Liberty City's aesthetic works because it never breaks character. Every texture, every sound, every lighting choice reinforces that same emotional truth. This is a city that demands endurance, not admiration, not love, just persistence. In a medium obsessed with spectacle and escape, Liberty City dares to be unpleasant in a quiet, consistent way. It doesn't beg you to stay, it doesn't reward you for looking closer, and that's why it feels real. Not because it's ugly, but because it's honest. As we look towards the inevitable, beautiful chaos of GTA 6, a game that will undoubtedly refine systems, expand scope, and deliver insane levels of detail, it's worth remembering what GTA 4 achieved. Modern open worlds, for all of their wonders, often feel like theme parks. They're a collection of dazzling activities, seamless systems, and visual spectacles designed for maximum player gratification. I can imagine GTA 6 will be the pinnacle of this design, but GTA 4 was something else. It was a simulation of a place, every element, the heavy physics, the resistant driving, the dense city planning, the grimy aesthetic, the chaotic combat worked in unison to create coherent, oppressive, and unshakably believable vibe. It didn't want to be your playground, it wanted to be your prison, and paradoxically, by limiting your power, by making you fight for every inch, it made your presence there feel earned, tangible, and real. While Santos is fun, I'm sure Vice City will be spectacular, but Liberty City has gravity, and that's why, for all its rough edges, it remains a landmark in video game atmosphere. It might not be the most fun GTA to play in most people's books, but it is, without a doubt, the best to simply exist in. Thank you for listening.